Good morning, everyone. My name is Erin Turbot, and I'm the communications lead for the Wyoming Department of Workforce Services. We're very lucky to be here today on this week. November 17th through 23rd is actually National Apprenticeship Week, and I am so excited to welcome you to our next virtual training series presentation, which is Registered Apprenticeship Programs of Excellence, also known as Apprenticeship 101. A little bit of background for today's virtual training series. We've chosen key topics, including today's, based on feedback we received from you, our customers, during our customer service surveys. Using those results, we identified a range of subjects to offer as free virtual training series sessions each month. You can visit our DWS Virtual Training Series site at dws.wyo.gov/VTS to learn more about or register for our upcoming events or to view past sessions. Look for that link in chat. I think Tricia just put that in there. Today's presentation will be recorded, and both the recording and the slideshow will be available on our website in just a few days. Please feel free to throw any questions you have in the chat, and we will answer those at the end of the presentation. We'll just keep an eye on them and get those relayed to our speakers. We also want to know what you think, so we'll put a link in the chat right now. Feel free to open this up. It is our survey. Have it ready to complete at the end of the presentation. We're also going to put it up then at the end of the hour. We just ask that you complete it so that we can continue to bring great presentations just like today's. Today we have two very special guests, Robert Fife with DWS. He is the grant specialist for the apprenticeship program, and also Ivy Karagian. Ivy, I'm so sorry if I pronounce that wrong. Please correct me. And Ivy is our apprenticeship lead. Please join me in welcoming these two great speakers.
Thanks, Aaron. Good morning, everyone, and happy National Apprenticeship Week. Like Aaron said, my name's Robert Fife, and I'm one of three members on the apprenticeship team here at DWS. We are taking questions at the end, like again, Aaron said. So I guess we can get started. So what is an apprenticeship? So apprenticeships are industry-driven, high-quality career pathways where employers can develop and prepare their future workforce, and individuals can obtain paid work experience, participate in classroom instruction, and receive portable, nationally recognized credentials. So what does that mean? So as an employer, you're helping build a skilled workforce. There's reduced turnover in these roles, and you're customizing your training to fit your needs and retaining these apprentices after. As an apprentice, it's a paid job where you earn as you learn the relevant skills in the chosen field with a mentor. You're also earning these industry recognized credentials that you can bring anywhere at the end of it to help jumpstart your career. So here's some useful stats across the nation. So the average starting salary of an apprentice who recently completed their apprenticeship is about 80K a year. 90% of apprentices retain employment after their apprenticeship program. And the average apprentice who completes their apprenticeship program will earn, on average, $300,000 more over their lifetime compared to peers who did not complete an apprenticeship program. Next slide, please. So there are 5 key components to registered apprenticeships. First one is that they're industry-led. So the industry is the one who's vetting the curriculum and all of it. It's not me. I'm not writing stuff for healthcare. I have no background in healthcare, so it's industry-led. On-the-job learning. So it ensures that there's proper mentor to apprentice ratios are met to enhance the critical hands-on learning. Related classroom learning. So registered apprenticeship programs utilize supplemental education in a classroom setting. This can be community college, university, an in-house with a certified instructor or a JATC. Next, there's the wage progression. So apprentices are paid employees. So in an apprenticeship program, you're guaranteed a pay increase along the way. Typically, it's about the beginning and middle of apprenticeship program, and all of those, like I said, it's an increase. So you're guaranteed those. Um, the last one is the credentials. So you're earning these nationally recognized credentials that you can bring with you anywhere in the nation. So you can jumpstart your career anywhere. Next slide, please. So how can apprenticeships help you? Rather than take my word for it, here's some businesses that have apprenticeship programs and what they say about them. So like, um, you got Lockheed Martin, Wells Fargo, Blue Cross. All of these seem to have a theme. So they're getting diverse, skilled workforce. They're able to customize their training. Um, they're getting improved productivity, reduced turnover, and they're retaining these apprentices. Next slide. So when people hear apprenticeship, they think electricians and plumbers, but there's so much more than that. In Wyoming, we have apprenticeships in IT, cybersecurity, healthcare, teacher apprenticeships, just to name a few, along with many of these on this little word thing. All right, next slide, please. So our team, we have a couple different grants that we work on. The first one is the State Apprenticeship Expansion Formula. So the purpose of this grant is to develop and expand registered apprenticeship programs through a one-time incentive of up to $5,000. With that, you can use it towards train the trainer costs, apprentice materials, curricula development, etc. Um, next slide, please. So the next opportunity we have are our pre-apprenticeship programs. These are they're available through Makerspace, a program of innovation workshop at the University of Wyoming. These are free programs designed to prepare pre-apprentices to enter and succeed in registered apprenticeship programs. The pre-apprenticeship programs are self-paced and allow you to explore careers through classroom and technology-based learning, strengthen your abilities to communicate, problem solve, and build your skills for the workforce. We currently offer pre-apprenticeship programs in the following industries, which is the construction, manufacturing, and healthcare. Next slide, please. So the next grant we're going to talk about is our state apprenticeship grant. It's through the Workforce Development Training Fund. It's the apprenticeship training grant. And it's used to offset the cost of the classroom theoretical learning, so the supplemental education. When we're looking at an apprenticeship program, some of the main components are going to be the hands-on training that they're getting on the job with a mentor. And the other piece is the RTI, the related technical instruction, the theoretical learning. So with this, the WDTF grants, the Workforce Development Training Fund, they're open the first 7 days of each month, after which applications go to a review panel, and you can, so I think that's about it on WDTF. Sorry, next slide. So this is an additional grant under WDTF. It's our internship grant. And like I said, with the WDTF grants, they're open the first 7 days of each month. And with this grant, we can reimburse up to $18 an hour, up to 480 hours, which is typically about 3 months if you're working full-time, or 6 months if you're working part-time. That's supported with like industry wage standards. So businesses can have up to 3 internships per fiscal year, or businesses with a registered apprenticeship program can have up to 5. These require a mentored structured learning experience that allows for career exploration, and identified mentors should have knowledge or the expertise aligning with what the intern will be learning. Um, and next slide, I think. So I'm going to pass it off to Ivy Karagian, who's the apprenticeship lead.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate it. Thank you everyone so much for being here. We're excited to have an opportunity to speak to all of you about our grants and support that we have available for registered apprenticeship programs. There are a couple of things I want to add to some of the details Robert was mentioning. So with our apprenticeship grants, both state and federally funded, we are able to layer those. And what I mean by layering is if we have a registered apprenticeship program that is looking for mentorship stipends, looking to develop curriculum, looking to start a new registered apprenticeship program, we can utilize that federal SAFE grant, that state apprenticeship expansion formula, to help with the $5,000 upfront incentive fee that can cover some of those costs to help with that. While that program is also utilizing those dollars, they can apply for the Workforce Apprenticeship Training Grant. And with that grant, then they can look at who their training provider is for that theoretical classroom learning, and they can get the tuition fees, licensing costs, all reimbursed through that grant. So we're able to help and do some wraparound services for registered apprenticeship programs. In addition to that, I want to talk about internship layering. So with our internship grants, registered apprenticeship programs can have up to 5 interns per fiscal year. We have the increase there to assist apprenticeship programs with the vetting process. We understand that apprenticeship programs take time, and there is a cost associated with, standing it up, having those administrative fees, looking at assigning mentors to a registered apprenticeship program. And so what you can do is utilize that internship opportunity as a stepping stone for those apprentices. So those apprentices, before they actually become registered in the program, can go through a 3 or 6 month internship where those wages are being supported through the Workforce Development Training Fund. The individual is getting structured learning and exposure to that industry. They're getting some great core skills for that occupation, that industry, and the employer is getting some assistance as far as making sure that individual is invested and ready to go into a registered apprenticeship program. So that internship can be done first, and then they can move into a registered apprenticeship program, and there's a flow of grant funding that can be there to assist that business as they pursue that. With our pre-apprenticeship programs, that's going to be more of an initial step even before an internship. So pre-apprenticeships are truly to be used as an opportunity to build industry skills and competencies before even looking at career opportunities. It's more the career exploration piece. With those pre-apprenticeship pathways through Makerspace, those are free and open to the public. So anyone is able to partake in those. We primarily look at 16 to 24 as our age group demographic that we're assisting, connecting them with employers after they complete so that they get some industry experience, but that is free and open to the public. So anyone who's a career seeker can utilize those to build skills, or those who are working in the Workforce Center can utilize pre-apprenticeship trainings as an opportunity to help career seekers. So moving into resources, there are a couple of resources that we really wanted everyone to be aware of and have the opportunity to explore. Our first resource is going to be apprenticeship.gov. So this is the national website for registered apprenticeship programs. This is going to be looking at it from more that 30,000-foot view, looking at national data, the overarching information. This is really where we're sending folks if they're just starting to explore registered apprenticeship programs. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through this website just to give you some tools that may be helpful. And Robert, are you guys able to see apprenticeship.gov?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so the first place that I'm going to go to is for employers. We're going to go to employers first. So if you're an employer who's wanting to learn more about registered apprenticeship programs, What does it take to become a registered apprenticeship program? This employer's taskbar up at the top is going to be an incredible resource full of tools and information that you can sift through. If we're going to explore apprenticeship, this is going to take employers to a page where they're really going to get that foundational knowledge of what is an apprenticeship, what are the requirements, what am I expected to do? This is going to give some overarching information. It's also going to talk about success stories on this main landing page. But where I really want to take you is building a program. We're going to create a program. So this is for an employer who's never even heard of apprenticeship, doesn't know what it takes. And this is going to walk you through the components of how to start a program. The first thing that we need to do is obviously select an occupation. We know what our industry is, but what is this job title of this apprenticeship program? What are these individuals going to be trying to achieve? What occupation? There are resources that we'll go through here in a second to actually understand how to find an occupation through the Department of Labor and actually see if they're registered with the Department of Labor. Next thing that you're going to want to do is identifying your sponsors and your partners. With registered apprenticeship programs, there are a few different pathways that can be taken. If you're an employer who wants to have their own sole program, you're going to be a sponsor. That means that you own and operate that training pathway with partnering partners. So that would be your training provider, that classroom theoretical learning. You're most likely going to have a partner there unless you're providing it in-house. If you have other employers who you're also training their fellow employees, those would be partners. And if you have the Workforce Center assisting you, those would be partners. Connecting with the experts, this is referring to our Office of Apprenticeship. Wyoming is an Office of Apprenticeship state, which means that we are regulated by the Department of Labor for all of our registered apprenticeship programs. You are going to want to connect with our Office of Apprenticeship Director. That is Jason Demo, and I'm happy to provide his contact information to anyone who would like that. Connecting with our Office of Apprenticeship is just going to be able to help you take a deeper dive into rules, regulations, looking at that compliance side of things. With registered apprenticeship programs, the Office of Apprenticeship does audits where we're looking at making sure apprentices are meeting their hours, making sure they're meeting their competencies and getting the correct licenses that they may need for their program. Robert touched on these core components of a registered apprenticeship program, but we really do focus on each one of these when creating a quality program. We want to make sure it's industry-led, that we're meeting industry standards across the entire state. It's a paid job for those apprentices. That's structured on-the-job learning, that hands-on component with a mentor, the supplemental education, having a training provider. We want to make sure that there's diversity, that we're tapping into those underserved, underpopulated communities. Looking at quality and safety, making sure that it's a safe work environment and that safety is included within that program. And then looking at those credentials. There are many credentials that are recognized by the Department of Labor. They can even be local credentials for counties, including state and county licensing. We do look at apprenticeship cards, things like that. Launching a program. When you're ready to launch your program, it'll take you to a whole set of resources, including a standards builder. When I say standards, that's going to be the outline of your program, the structure of your program. So outlining all of those key components. How is it industry-led? What are you going to be teaching during that structured learning? How many hours of on-the-job training do they need? How many mentors are they going to have, and identifying those mentors? So those are your standards. It's the outline of that program. I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to go into career seekers. So this is a great opportunity if those of you working at the Workforce Center have career seekers who are interested in learning more about registered apprenticeship programs. Again, this is going to be a high-level overview of the information that's available. We'll take a deeper dive into Wyoming-specific information after we finish up with this resource. But this can give them information on becoming an apprentice. What are their expectations going to be in an apprenticeship program? What are the hours going to look like? What does the education look like? It also gives them some information on EEO, or Equal Employment Opportunity regulations. We also have services available for service members and veterans. We often connect with our veteran reps. We also are trying to build a stronger relationship with the Bridge program so that exiting members have an opportunity to go into a registered apprenticeship program. There's also a great opportunity to look at success stories on here. Again, nationally, not on a national level, success stories from all over the United States. There's also information for educators. So if you are a teacher or a counselor, an administrator for any of our school districts, this is an awesome opportunity to look at how registered apprenticeship programs can be provided for students. Information on pre-apprenticeship programs, also looking at how does this compare to post-secondary education. One of the stigmas around registered apprenticeships is that they aren't equal to college. Well, many of our registered apprenticeship programs are actually utilizing our community colleges and our universities. Individuals are earning 2 to 4 year degrees, and then on that non-credit side, earning a great list of credentials that they can take across industry. Additional resources, this is a lot of information. So I highly recommend, if you're still interested in diving through all of this, jump straight in. The general information is going to talk more about like apprenticeship industries nationally, looking at apprenticeship news nationally. This is a great place to find additional webinars on registered apprenticeship programs. But there's 2 places that I really want to show everyone on the call today. Occupation Finder. So this is what I was mentioning during the Build Your Apprenticeship Program page. This can also be used by career seekers, educators, parents who are interested in learning about what can even be a registered apprenticeship program. So this is an opportunity where you can search a specific job here in the search bar, and then you can also see other ones that are easy views. So if I'm curious about dental assisting, I want to figure out if a dental assistant can be a registered apprenticeship program. They're going to give a long list of apprenticeship programs within that realm, dental. So it's going to give me a long list. I'm looking at dental assisting. I'm going to hit search. And this is actually going to pull up the dental assisting page for the Department of Labor. This is going to give a brief summary about dental assisting. And then what we're really looking for is this gold star. This means that it's a registered occupation with the Department of Labor. That means there are programs built and registered already, and they actually provide us a sneak peek of that by giving us these different work plans that have already been approved. With registered apprenticeship programs, we have time-based, which means they have to complete a certain number of hours, which equal out to years, in order to complete the program. A competency-based means they have a list of competencies that they have to learn and show that they understand to master. Most of them come with tests that they have to display competency. And then hybrid, apprenticeship programs can take a little bit of both to create an overarching program. So maybe they need 1,000 hours on the job, but they also have 25 competencies they have to master in order to complete the registered apprenticeship program. Additionally, they're going to provide some of the work activities. So they have a long list of the work activities that have been recognized and registered underneath these programs with the Department of Labor. And if you click on these, it's just going to give you a brief summary of what that task looks like. What's also nice is you can search these by ONET codes. So if there's a specific occupation in Wyoming that's associated with an ONET code, you can also search by that ONET code to give you that specific job. It's also going to give you a list of other occupations you can explore that are in kind of the same health or construction or manufacturing field, for example. The other resource that I want to show is the Partner Finder. So again, this is looking at a national level. You can put in city, state, or zip code into the search bar, or you can search by industry or occupation. This is going to give you a big map of the United States. You can search Wyoming specifically, but I have an easier resource for you to use. Okay, I'm going to go back to the slides. So that's kind of in a nutshell what apprenticeship.gov is, looking at national information, high arching, dip your toes into a registered apprenticeship. If we want to look at a specific apprenticeship website for Wyoming only, we were very lucky with that pre-apprenticeship opportunity. There were funds for us to develop a pre-apprenticeship hub. And so the Wyoming Apprenticeship Hub is going to give Wyoming-specific apprenticeship information. So I'm going to also walk you through this resource. This is that landing page. This is quick access to Wyoming apprenticeships. With this drop down, you can select any of these industries. And what it'll do is it'll actually take you to that industry page where there's a list. There's going to be a list of all the current registered apprenticeship programs underneath that industry. You can additionally search for other specific options here. So industry, occupation, so the job, the zip code. You can just go to all employers and select a very specific employer, and then you can search by hiring or not. This map is going to show you all of the current construction apprenticeships, because we're on the construction page in Wyoming. And what you can do here is you can click on any of these, and it's going to bring up that apprenticeship. So Appliance Max, Laramie, Wyoming, it's going to give the location. If we want to take a deeper dive into that employer, we're like, yeah, I really want to see what they have to offer. You can actually go to that employer's page off of that interactive map. It's going to give their direct contact information, and then it's going to tell you what apprenticeship program that they have. If we're looking at the apprenticeship page, this is now under all industries. So this map is showing all of the registered apprenticeship programs that we have in these areas. In some of the more populated areas, if I click on one of these, it's going to bring up, 10, 20 more. So what I recommend is always going to the industry of focus or the occupation. So maybe you're a career seeker or a workforce center staff that's looking to assist someone in finding a registered apprenticeship program. They're like, I want to be in construction and I want to be a plumber. You can go through here, select plumber, and then it's going to show you just the plumbing apprenticeship programs. So this is a really easy way to assist career seekers, or if you're a career seeker yourself, be able to access direct information for Wyoming specific apprenticeship programs. The sponsor page is going to be more for the employer side. Maybe you're a business rep or an employer who wants to explore more about registered apprenticeship programs on the registration side. So this sponsor page is going to be, again, everything that they need to know for starting a registered apprenticeship program. They can also directly contact us to provide technical assistance and next steps. So again, this is just overarching. How is this going to benefit my business? Why register an apprenticeship program? There are so many benefits and flexibility, and then a lot of funding to support businesses who want to have these structured learning pathways. Again, if you get all the way down to the bottom and you're like, yep, I want to learn more, there's an opportunity to submit an inquiry directly to us. That comes directly to the Y Apprenticeship team here at DWS, and then we take those inquiries, follow up on them, normally schedule a call. We're always happy to meet one-on-one with employers to discuss next steps, get them connected to the Wyoming Office of Apprenticeship if they're ready to register today. And then we always feature all of our registered apprenticeship employers on this website as well, so all the logos. I'm going to go back to the top. I'm sorry if I'm making anyone motion sick. Going to industries, this is going to be just a broader breakdown from that initial page where we can go into these specific industries and see what's available. Occupations is going to be that same thing. So a full list of all the different apprenticeship programs that we have in Wyoming. Robert talked about how we've really worked to expand to non-traditional occupations. And so we have a large list of farm equipment mechanic, cybersecurity technician, a K through 12 teacher. We've got medical assisting and CNA. So there's a long list of available apprenticeships in Wyoming. The pre-apprenticeship page is going to be a further breakdown of our pathways that we have available through the Makerspace platform. That's through the University of Wyoming Innovation Workshop. We also have direct links on this website for individuals interested in taking the pre-apprenticeship program to create their training account and start training. When they do this, we also connect with them to provide them with a course list and passwords for all of those quizzes that are associated with those competencies. If I scroll down to the bottom, there's going to be some additional resources. We've got our frequently asked questions on here. We've got a page for parents, getting youth involved in registered apprenticeship programs. It's not just them, especially if they're under 18. We also want to make sure that the parents are completely involved and educated on the availability of those pathways in Wyoming. We also have our events and newsroom page. This is where we're going to be posting just about any of the webinars, Q&A sessions, like this week, all of our national apprenticeship events and registration for those. And then our newsroom, we are well connected with employers all over the state. So when they go do something really cool, we want to make sure that we're featuring that on our newsroom. We write articles. There are some new things that may be coming to that page. We have had, I guess as an example, we just had one of our local plumbing unions go to DC and represent the state of Wyoming for apprenticeship. So we did a shout out for them and shared some of the pictures that were taken during that event. Very cool for Wyoming to be represented on that national level. Our direct contact page will be on there. And then again, all of those main resource tabs up at the top. I'm going to go back to the slides now. So this is our contact information. Savannah Vasquez is our Workforce Development Training Fund lead. So she's going to oversee the apprenticeship training grant and also our internship opportunity. Robert Fife was on earlier, who talked about all of our federal apprenticeship opportunities and pathways. He's our grant specialist underneath the apprenticeship team. And then my contact information. Please reach out to any of us if there are questions after today. I know we have some time to take some audience questions, but I just want to make sure that you all know you can reach out to us, ask any questions you may have specific to grants or big questions regarding registered apprenticeship, or if you want to be connected to our Office of Apprenticeship Director. Those are all things that we're capable of doing. So thank you so much. And I think we're going to open it up for questions if we have any.
Hi, Ivy and Robert. We do have one question so far. How many of these apprenticeships are felon friendly?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we actually have a registered apprenticeship program in the Torrington prison. It's a construction-based apprenticeship program. It's a plumbing program at the moment. But many of our apprenticeship programs are going to be felon friendly. There are some limitations when it comes to educators, but that's going to be based off of Department of Education standards and then also school district policy. So that's really it's going to be based on the program is how I should say that. We definitely do have programs that are equal employment. So those are opportunities. If you are interested in a specific apprenticeship program, I would reach out to us. We can get you connected and we can vet that question further with specific employers.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ivy. Geraldine McAdams asked if we can get this information sent. And I just want to let everyone know you're going to be able to have these slides. The two handouts that Tricia put in the chat earlier about the State Apprenticeship Expansion Fund and the apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship. So there's going to be two handouts, the slides, and of course the video. And we're also going to include, of course, Savannah, Robert, and Ivy's contact information for you. So next question then is, are there any apprenticeships that are located on or around the Wind River Reservation?
Yeah, there are. So right now, our apprenticeship program, we have Wind River Cares, who has a medical assisting apprenticeship program. And that apprenticeship program is actually utilizing Central Wyoming College as their training provider. So those individuals are getting credit at the college and then also getting their MA certificate. And we're looking to expand. So if you have any ideas, let us know.
Wonderful. This question looks like it might be from one of our DWS employees. Can you be specific about how we connect our clients to these apprenticeships? If we find one that they like, who do we contact?
Yeah, so there's two routes for that. Thank you. That's a great question. You can either directly refer them to us, and we can assist with connecting to business, or utilizing that Y Apprenticeships platform is an incredible resource because the employer's contact information is directly there. Many of those employer pages are also going to have their career pages. With registered apprenticeship programs, hiring processes are pretty traditional. So they go through applying through the career page. Most of them are going to have apprentice plumber, apprentice mechanic, and they'll directly apply through that website. And then if they would like to, they can also directly contact that apprenticeship sponsor, that employer.
Terrific. Another question is also, how often are these websites updated for the companies, specifically for the companies that are registered?
Robert, I'll let you take that one.
So as for all the sponsors on the Y Apprenticeships page, I update that every month. I go to the apprenticeships.gov that Ivy showed first, and I pull up all of the currently registered programs, and I do a little back and forth, and if any fall off, they're no longer on Y Apprenticeships. And if any new come up, I add them as soon as possible. So that's usually about the beginning of each month I do that.
Terrific. Thank you, Robert. Next question is, how difficult is it for employers to set up a pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship? Is it time consuming?
So it really depends on if the occupation is already registered with the Department of Labor. For registered apprenticeship programs, we can take that model that's already approved and tweak it and make it as unique as we need. That's normally a much faster turnaround as far as standing up a program. It could take a couple weeks of back and forth. If we're building a program from scratch, we're needing a couple more partners involved in that. So figuring out a training provider, including the Office of Apprenticeship, and building those standards from scratch could take a couple months to be completely transparent. For a pre-apprenticeship program, it's actually pretty easy. So we have a quality pre-apprenticeship standard form that we have available that'll talk about all the necessary components. And that can pretty much be stood up in-house in a week, a couple days, as long as you have all the resources to support that.
Thank you. I had a couple of questions. There were a couple of terms that, a couple of terms that each of you mentioned. Robert mentioned JATC, and I was wondering what that meant.
Yeah, so a JATC is a Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee. So really Joint Apprenticeship Training Center. So we have a couple of those around the state, and those, the majority of those are going to be union focused. It's a large training center that has a registered apprenticeship program. They have a large range of partnering employers that send all of their employees to that one training center. Sometimes that training center is housed in Wyoming. We have one in Casper for electrical, and it's an incredible and very sustainable program. And then sometimes we have, JATCs that have all these partnering employers who are Wyoming-based employers and send their individuals to training in Texas for 2 weeks. So there's some flexibility there, but it's a large training center for registered apprenticeship.
Perfect, thank you. The next question, this is my last question. ONET, what does that mean?
Yeah, so ONET is going to be the employment code that's associated with an occupation. I'm not exactly sure what the term stands for. I can definitely look it up and send it to all of you. But we utilize ONET. There's actually an online platform where you can pull wage documentation. And we do ask for that with our internship because we're reimbursing wages. We want to make sure that those individuals are at the low to middle end of that range because they are going into an entry level. It's just a resource or a term platform that can be utilized to look at very specific job information.
Perfect. And somebody put in for us Occupational Information Network. That must be what ONET stands for.
Thank you.
All right. That looks like the last of the questions. If there are any last minute ones, feel free to throw them in there. Otherwise, Ivy, if you want to go to the next slide, your feedback matters so much to us. Ivy, Robert, you guys did a fabulous job, and I think our survey is going to reflect that. Really have gained a much deeper understanding of the core principles and the great benefits of registered apprenticeship programs. Super important for Wyoming and everything that we do here. Folks, we're going to send a follow-up email, as I said, in the next couple of days. It's going to include a link to the survey, which Tricia just posted in the chat. Take it now or take it then, but please take it. The email is going to also include a recording of this and the slides and handouts. And we really just, as far as the survey goes, we want to make sure that we're hitting the mark with these presentations, with what you tell us you want to learn. We want to make sure that that's what we're giving you. And so while we're posting, let's see, while you're completing the survey, we're going to post one more link if you want to advance one more time, Ivy. The December presentation literally goes hand in hand with this apprenticeship program. This is the WDTF, Workforce Development Training Fund grants that both Ivy and Robert talked about today. So next month is going to be all about those, and that is super, super exciting. You are going to discover how WDTF can empower your business or organization. It's a unique state-funded program. It offers valuable financial support for training and upskilling your employees and workforce development across Wyoming. So our WDTF experts are going to walk you through the 5 key grants, which include the business training grant, internship grant, apprenticeship training grant, pre-hire, and pre-obligation grants. Don't miss this opportunity to learn how these resources are going to help you drive success and strengthen Wyoming's workforce. And that link is also in the chat right now. Thank you again, Robert and Ivy. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate you being here today. And everyone, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks.